Thank you very much.
We thank you for yielding back that non-time, and the chair will now recognize our colleague from the state of New Hampshire, Ms. Kuster.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I did get a chance to thank Mr. Davis for holding this hearing. Welcome to all of you, and in particular to Chris Coffin. Welcome for your work that you're doing in New Hampshire. I'm very excited about agriculture growing. We're one of the very few states with the rising 5% increase year over year now with new farmers, young farmers, value added, farm to table, farmers markets. I could go on and on. I'm excited to announce that we're number 2 in the United States for the percentage of farms where direct sales at 31%. I was wondering if it was a neighboring state that was number 1. It turns out it was Hawaii. So, but we're hot on their heels, and I've done a number of events in addition to visiting farms. And but I want a couple of shout outs. One, the USDA Rural Development Program that you're probably all familiar with has been super helpful. We just did a renewable energy with installation of solar panels at a farm that does a lot of direct marketing. And I think you're absolutely right in terms of access to land. That's actually how I first got into this before I came into Congress, was helping to save a local farm, Diamond Hill Farm, and doing the land conservation. It was a classic case, third generation. The brother wanted to sell it off to build McMansions, and the sister wanted to keep it. And we brought together everybody, federal farmer and rancher program, state funding, local, the town, and at the end, I helped to raise the money from just the community. And it's been a brilliant success. The best corn in the state of New Hampshire. Everybody stops there to get fresh fruits and vegetables, and I'm just a huge fan. My question, and this is directed, Chris, to you, from what you've been seeing on the ground working with New England farmers, what are some specific examples of how farmers are better utilizing direct sales to reach new customers and boost farm income? And then how can farmers outside of New England use some of these successful techniques to grow their direct sales?
Right, well, thank you for the question. Around New England, it's just impressive at the diversity of, as Congressman McGovern mentioned, in terms of opportunities. And in New Hampshire, one of the wonderful things is the new state has done a public-private partnership with restaurants to have a certified local restaurant certification program, so that customers know that they can go to certain restaurants and know that there's going to be local food on the menu. So that helps in some ways. I would say on the institutional markets that what's been impressive in New England, and I think this would hold true for around the country, is that schools and universities and healthcare centers that have made an effort at buying local and have worked to do consumer education about that local, that the result has been that more kids in public schools buy school lunches, because there's this, the sort of combination of education and working with school food service directors to do more scratch cooking. It makes, in many cases, food is better. That's not to say, Mr. McCloskey, that food from far away is not fine, but that there has been a sort of interest in moving away from prepared school food, and that helps generate excitement, and kids eating the food all helps to increase. And so schools that are doing well with their school lunch programs and breakfast programs, it's because there's a new excitement, and that helps to make it more cost-effective for schools. And the same thing with universities. UMass has had a significant increase in the number of students who have gone on the school meal plan. They're now number 1 in the country because they have made a big effort to promote local and sustainable, and it's gotten students excited. So I would say that in terms of those opportunities, I think those are everywhere.
Yeah, and I see that connection myself. The food tastes better, and people are excited about it, and making that connection to health this generation, particularly in terms of their level of activity and concern around health. And then my time is up, but I just want to add, The state of New Hampshire has done a lot of marketing, and I think Washington State probably in this regard as well. We have a nice tourism brochure now about farmers markets and direct marketing, and so I think in a state like ours where tourism is the number 2 sector of the economy, to be able to encourage people, and it spills over to the vodka and the home brew, the brewed beer. We doubled overnight in terms of the availability and real interest and excitement around that. And I think, as you say, the money stays local. So thank you all. I appreciate your help, and thank you again for hosting us.
Thank you, Annie. It always goes back